fellas.
All right.
Even though our pictures is not up.
Why is Twitch telling me I need to update my username? What's good with bro? What?
Somebody copyrighted Gibbs.
I was just about to say, did I violate? Like, what's happening here? Wow, I hate that for me.
All right, there we
You
go.
want to listen to that new Spider-Man soundtrack? That's why. I ain't listen to it yet.
You know what? You're right. I do need to listen to that new Spider-Man.
You tweaking.
I've heard that I'm off of being not here.
Am I dreaming? That's my song on
It's
there.
it's been so much going on in the world.
Oh, yo. I'm about to say, I'm about to tear y'all up real quick. Bro, so on No Way Home, when MJ was about to die, Tom Holland's Spider-Man went to go save her, and Green Goblin knocked him out the way, and then Andrew saved her. Remember that part?
Yeah.
What happened immediately after that?
Open my eyes to the world of basketball.
That's when the sky started opening up and other universes started coming in. MJ dying was supposed to be a canon event, bro.
No, you got it all wrong.
Rewatch it.
It's not. No. Hear me out. It's not a canon event. This is why the next movie is going to be called Beyond the Spider-Verse. Miguel is dumb and wrong, and he doesn't know that he's dumb and wrong because all he has is his limited knowledge. He's an incursion. That's what happened. Remember, Doctor Strange, they said every time you are in a different dimension doing something, it's like skipping a rock across a pond. But when you make enough ripples, you displace water out of the pond. When Peter saved the guy in Manhattan, it wasn't because he disrupted a canon event that everything started happening. There were 4 spider people at once that everybody there saw in unison.
Oh, yeah.
That was an incursion. It wasn't that they disrupted the canon. Who gives a damn about the canon?
Yeah.
You saw that, what's the name,
That's
Dad
true.
quit. What's the name, Dad quit being a captain. I'm sorry, by the way, for our listeners that we ruining this movie. If you haven't seen it. But you done had weeks. You know what I mean? We all talk about this movie. But think about it. When Spider-Gwen's dad said, I quit, there wasn't, nothing happened. Why?
Yeah, that's true.
Because there
That's
wasn't
very
a
true.
bunch of other spider people who showed up and made other ripples.
And they say Miles is the original anomaly, but ain't Miguel the original anomaly? Because he had a family that wasn't his in a whole different universe.
Yeah. And also, you got to remember, all these things are happening at the same time as Sophie killed Kang.
You're right.
So,
You're right.
Again, we are on the outside and we have knowledge of all of this happening at once. They have knowledge of like their one thing. It's like how people used to think that like flies and maggots came from dead meat because they didn't know any better. All they had was the bit of information that they had. That's Miguel right now. He's telling us the maggots come from meat and we're living in 2023. No, you idiot. Put a cover on the meat and watch what happens.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyway. Fellas,
Cover on the meat is crazy.
Hey, I said pause for a reason. But fellas, I'm going to put y'all under pressure, and not like the pressure them boys in the submarine is under, but I'm going to put y'all under some pressure right now with a question that I'm going to ask y'all, all right? Let's just pretend, since tonight is draft night, and we're going to be looking at the NBA draft, I want to ask y'all, if you could draft any 5 people to be stranded on an island with, any 5 from all throughout time, all throughout history, they can be real or fictional. Only rule is if they have a superpower or anything along those lines, you cannot use that to get off.
Okay.
That is the only caveat there. You can pick any 5 people to be stuck on an island with. Which 5 you going with?
Okay, so even though you said we cannot use those abilities to get off the island, I'ma still use this person. I'ma go with Superman at 1. Okay. Reason why: laser vision. He can cook stuff. He can protect us from predators. If we need firewood, he can rip a tree out the ground. He can bring us, and he can do everything. Right?
Yeah.
2 and 3. I'm going with a bit of an insurance policy. I'm not going to name the individuals that I'm thinking, but however, if you're on a stranded island, we have needs. You know what I'm saying? three is a backup. You know what I mean? Because you might get sick of 2. You know what I mean? So
You crazy,
Bro,
Using 2
what?
people for that is insane. That's insane.
what if you straight over this island for 8 years?
That's insane, brother. That is insane.
Hey. What if you straight over this island for 8 years?
Okay, I mean,
You need a backup.
I guess. Okay,
I
proceed.
am
Proceed.
flabbergasted.
And as Superman, you ain't got to worry about Superman doing nothing devious with the shorties because he not cut like that.
You're dead wrong.
How many
There is
Superman
you.
movies and comics we done seen?
There is you. There's a 6'4" man who can fly.
But
Who
he
has
lame.
super strength.
But he lame.
Josh, I don't
And
know.
I'm just
Here's
saying.
the thing, right? You know how they say money can't unlame you? There's a bell curve with that. Like there's a bell curve to like money can't unlame you until you got a couple billions in your account. You unlame.
Lame. So Superman ain't got a couple billions.
Superman. No. Think about this. Being strong.
Superman
is
is
cool, right?
Superman.
I was just about to say, being a strong man is cool, right? Now imagine
But if
being
you
the
lame, it
strongest
don't
human
matter.
being in existence, or the strongest being in existence.
If you lame, it don't matter.
I hear you. And it sounds good till you ask him to pull a tree up out the ground and he do it. Now they parts is partner. Now one done skipped to 2 and 3. Now you sitting over there on the other side of the island crying and weeping gently.
All right, if that's the case, then let's get to number 4.
I was just about to say it's too late. Go ahead, use number 4. You use 2 and 3 the way you want to use it. Who you got at number 4?
I honestly have no idea, man. That's a question you got to think about for a minute. Trying to think of somebody that's like extremely brilliant or smart, because if I'm spending that much time on a deserted island, I want to absorb as much knowledge as possible. So I'm talking about I might want to get like a Aristotle or some just like philosopher. I also feel sometimes about that though, like if we got these people that existed all these years ago that they said was the smartest people around, I feel like according to today's standards, you're gonna talk to them and it's just gonna be like a regular smart dude. Like,
Listen, I remember they said that, and this is going to sound terrible. I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but I'm living. They said that they used to have like these poll quizzes for like people to vote, and like it was discriminatory against black people and poor people and different people of different ethnicity because they didn't have like formalized education and everybody wasn't in school at the time. I was looking at like the questions for like, oh, this is what you got to do to be eligible to vote. Like you got to answer these questions correctly. And don't get me wrong, some of them were trick questions that's like, okay, technically there's no way that you could not get this question wrong. Absolutely. But most of them was like very basic stuff that I was like, wait, what? But then
it was
I
like
realized,
common sense questions.
Of course, it was like the 2 or 3 trick questions that they used. Like if you don't get 100%, you can't vote. But again, they didn't use it for everybody. They just used it for some people. But yeah, I understand the thought there. So who you picking at 5? Because you got Superman, you got the 2, and I would like to know the 2 names, but I mean you ain't gotta say that on air if you don't feel comfortable doing so. We gonna skip the 4.
Man,
you got a famous philosopher.
I'm gonna say it. I'm just a little hesitant because we work in sports media, and one day Facts Over Racks podcast is gonna blow up. I'm not saying it might blow up. It's going to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People gonna go back to episode 146 and be like, "Yo, what'd you say about Taylor Rooks?" Because that's 2 for sure.
I met her in person at Dreamville Fest. I should have got a picture. But yeah.
Did you shake her hand?
Oh, of course.
Gives-
Hey, yo. You're bugging. Chris, get your mans.
I'm staying out of this. I'm not incriminating myself on nothing.
Nah,
on air.
get your mans at half melanated villages because this is too much. Bro said
Half.
hand sniff?
Half.
That's less offensive than sniffing a hand after a shake. That's crazy. That's some crazy work.
And 3 is a variable 5 just because it's a person that I never met. And y'all know this is my favorite person ever. Since we doing a fantasy draft, I got Cole at 5.
Ah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair. Chris, who your 5, man?
Man, so my 5, I tried to get creative, right? And I wrote them down. Try to get creative. So I like Guyton idea for superheroes, so I got two of them. My two superheroes. I got one, a childhood favorite, classic. I'm gonna roll with Danny Phantom, right? Cool kid. He can change into a ghost. He can change, he make us laugh. We be like, turn into that ghost thing. We cook him all the time. You know what I mean? And then at nighttime, we can play pranks and all kind of stuff. We can, it'll be fun on a stranded island. Second one, Batman. Who wouldn't want to be stranded with a genius billionaire on an island, right? Batman probably make a bat suit on the island, like literally. And you also said we can't use it to leave, but he can probably have his private stuff, drop stuff off to us at the island.
Chris, if you could have him drop stuff off, why wouldn't y'all just get on the plane that they bring to drop stuff off and leave?
I mean, you said we stranded there, but I mean,
you don't know how long you're gonna be stranded. But again, you could be rescued. You're not sure. Yeah, you're stranded on the island.
Okay. All right. Now the other one is, we're gonna get kind of bored on this island. I don't want to go the route Guyton going because I'm on air, and I could get in a lot of trouble.
He on that Daniel House Ime Udoka time, boy. He said,
"Hey, you see that rocket sweatshirt?"
He said, "I got 5 people. 40% of it gonna be dedicated to what I need. The Lord is my shepherd, and He know what I want. Have mercy, Chris. Tell me about the last two."
So Thomas Edison, I'm gonna bring you Thomas Edison, bro. Out of the random ballpark, Thomas Edison, bro. Somebody smart, historic, black. He just a genius.
What?
He say Thomas Edison was black?
Did you just say Thomas Edison? I mean, hey, yo. Not we was electricity. Not we was electricity.
First pick is in. We already know what's coming up.
Of course. Young Wemby on the track going to San Antonio. I'm going to tell you what. Greg Popovich ain't never seen a foreign player that he couldn't make something out of, boy. He said, if your first time touching down,
are we gonna talk about Wemby fit though? We're gonna talk about his fit. Like he came out there kind of humble. He ain't really do nothing like crazy,
I think that's a good fit. If I'm putting a suit together, that's what I'm putting together.
That's what I'm saying.
Are any of us surprised by this pick? No, better question: do we think that Wemby is going to pan out?
I don't think that he's going to be what everybody thinks. That
his floor is KD.
No, that is crazy.
That was the scout comparisons. That's what it said. It said floor KD.
To me, that's insane. That is like literally.
I don't think we see nobody that high of a floor in those.
Because even with LeBron, people weren't saying that his floor was like. I don't know.
People would say his floor was Dominique Wilkins. Like that's wild.
Yeah, nobody was saying his floor was Dominique Wilkins. Like nobody was saying that. Like that's absolutely crazy. KD, a Hall of Famer.
KD is his floor.
Multiple time NBA champion, multiple time NBA Finals MVP is your floor. Okay. I don't think people are saying that like if he is only KD or Anthony Davis, that's a failure on his career. So like no, I don't think he's gonna live up to what folks are pegging him out to be, and it's not fair to him. It's really not fair. It's like that's
huge to live up to.
Yeah, that's way too big. That's way too big.
I think he got the talent to be what people want him to be.
Right.
But at the same time, when you're that big, I just don't think you're meant to be playing basketball.
That's fair. And that to me is another part of the equation where I'm like, it's not, because if he goes out and somebody said if he's AD, KD, or Hakeem Olajuwon, but I'm gonna take Hakeem out because that's stupid. Hakeem is one of the greatest bigs of all time. To have him anywhere outside of your top, to me, 3 to 4 bigs of all time is absolutely blasphemous. And that is just.
I would put Hakeem at 1, but at the same time, he don't have like the same accolades as others do. So I understand why people might have him lower than like a Kareem.
I strongly disagree. He doesn't have the MVPs, and that's it. But also, Kareem played in the era where half of the best players for the first part of his career were in the ABA. Like,
that's very true.
If imagine the NBA that Hakeem played in, if Jordan and Ewing were in another league. Like, come on. Like,
facts.
what are we doing here? But to me, I mean, when you look at Hakeem, greatest post move guy of all time, who's also the all time leader in blocks. Like, what are we doing here? Like. He's not, but I digress. Chris,
and one other
start 5.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say one other thing too about Wemby, bro. Like, he's got to play the 5 to starting out until you find a team around him. I don't think he has success defensively at the 5 right now. I don't think he does.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I think he's a true power forward. But
Tell
anyway,
me tell me this. Hold on, wait. So tell me this. If you can't start him at the 5, or if you can't start him nowhere else but the 5 to start off his career, where do you think he progresses to as time goes on? Like how far?
I think
3, maybe.
I think best case scenario a 3. Best case scenario a 3.
Honestly, for me personally, I don't see why you would want to play him at the 3. Like, don't get
You
me
don't
wrong.
want to,
It's great
but-
to have that luxury, but like, you know, if anything, unless you got like 2 other dominant bigs, then maybe sure in certain spurts.
It's because he can shoot the ball and dribble really well, though, Gibbs. I mean,
Yeah, I say you got to run him at the 4 and get a big at the 5.
that's what I'm saying. You run him at the 4, and then you get like a Dwight Howard type big. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing out there a similar
the
play style.
archetype. Yeah. Archetype.
Yeah. And then you have 2 other shooters at the guard position, and then a wing that can defend. I think
That's fair.
pretty
That's
solid.
fair. All right.
Now
So
back to it. Thomas Edison Black.
Thomas Edison Black is crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think you're thinking of Benjamin Banneker or somebody along those lines, because Thomas Edison is white as the pure Jervis Snow.
No, I was talking. My mind was moving faster. I was saying like when they go black outside, we could develop something that make light. That's what I was going with.
That's
So,
fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
my brain was. So that's why I put him on the list so we can have some type of fun with him and Batman together. They gonna figure out something, right? Barack Obama, I have on there just because Barack Obama just the OG. I feel like everybody called like if I had to make somebody my uncle today, it would be Barack. Like I feel like a lot of people would say the same thing. Barack would be my uncle if I had to make somebody uncle. And then the last one, in the case that we do get some entertainment, like Guyton just suggested, I don't want nobody else on that island other than James Harden.
Chris, wait a minute. I think, was that all 5?
Yeah.
That was fun.
There's no entertainment coming on the island, my brother in Christ.
In case we find some, I'm going to have somebody know how to have a good time. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You're going to be sick when Thomas Edison got to throw something. You're going to be sick. All right. So my 5
James
here-
going to be sick.
hey, listen. My 5 here, man. Number 1 pick got to be Bear Grylls. Like that guy, bro.
Good pick.
Survival guy. He does all the survival thing. Of all the superheroes, I'm surprised y'all didn't take this one, since his origin story was literally him building something out of scratch. Give me Iron Man, Tony Stark. Come on down, brother. I need you to build some stuff.
I'll grab Batman. Similar concept. You know?
And here's the next person I'm grabbing. And y'all might say this is cheating, but I don't care. Mr. Mixie out of the DC lore, the one that's like 4th dimensional. You can't get me off the island, but you can put whatever I want on it. I'll be all right.
True. That's very true.
And the 4th person would have to be The Rock, because like that's my guy. I don't know why I love The Rock so much, but like I love the guy, man. He's on.
I don't know if any of you ever seen Dr. Stone. I should have picked Senku. That's who I should have picked. It's an anime about the world like restarting from like the Stone Age, and there's this one dude named Senku that like basically rebuilds society like with his bare hands.
Got you. And my 5th pick, my 5th and final pick after those 4. Again, I got Mr. Mixie there, so I can like pick whatever I want as far as like the entertainment of it goes. But I need somebody that's funny. I need somebody that's hilarious on that island. And with that being said, Bernie Mac, come on down, brother. Come on down. We gonna have us a great old time. We gonna have some great laughs on that island.
Let me tell you something. They got me. I can't even do a Bernie impression without cussing. So forget it.
Hey, listen. My island is gonna be lit. And I'm gonna like try to hide Mr. Mixie from the rest of them, because like I don't want The Rock wishing for that terrible ass liquor of his on the island. Like, no, we don't want to drink that. Stop. God.
Brandon Miller went too. How y'all feel about that?
I'm not really surprised. It was a lot of talk between him and Scoop. Him and Scoot,
I
was
don't
hearing
know,
was gonna be
bro.
2
I
3s
think
away.
Scoot the best player in this draft by a pretty sizable gap.
I think that Scoot is not a developed enough shooter and makes bad decisions when playmaking. So these next 2 teams should probably pass on him. You know, the 3 and 4 teams.
I see what you're doing here.
Pass on Scoot. You know, but no, seriously though, Brandon Miller, I get it because of today's NBA. It makes
Right.
sense. But just know, if we going back like 5 to 10 years, there is no way under God's green earth that Scoot ain't going number 2 in this draft. 'Cause
It's my thing with Scoot is Scoot got a couple of skills underdeveloped basketball wise, but that's stuff that you can be taught. You're in the NBA for a reason.
Right.
Brandon Miller, it's a lot of questions about him that's already answered with Scoot that you might not be able to fix. You don't know if he got you don't know if he got the frame to be physical at times. You don't know if he got the explosiveness, the speed to be. He's going to be a primary ball handler if LaMelo was not healthy on that team. With somebody like Scoot, he got all of those. The worst part of his game is his shooting. We've seen people be in the league for 10 years and not be able to shoot. In season 11, they shooting 40%. You can be taught how to shoot.
But
Well,
we've
I'll
also
say
seen
that-
people figure out their shot real quick. We've seen guys who come into the league as like they shooting it. Remember when Trevor Ariza was just a dunker?
Yeah.
And then he went on to become like a 35% three-point shooter for like the rest of his career. Yeah. It's possible.
And I'll say this about Brandon Miller. You know they lost Miles Bridges, so I mean, in a reality, this is kind of, and they were a good team when they had Miles Bridges, like a decent team when they had Miles Bridges. So I think this is like a drop-in replacement that gets you back to that normal that you had.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that, again, I was hearing a lot about him and Scoot going 2 to 3 either way. All I know is, I mean, I get it in today's game why a guy who can do the primary ball handling, create his own shot, and knock down shots off the catch and shoot at a high clip to where his absolute floor is like you're looking at an elite marksman for the next, like a marksman plus for the next 10 years or so. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But, you know, I don't know if I'm not going to go with Scoot there. But, fellas, we have got to get into these trades that happened right before the draft because, boy, I tell you, there was some trading going on. There was some movement going on. You know, in the words of Josh Guyton, with the way he picked his 5 people, what's all that movement going on back there? What's all that movement? We saw a ton of players on the go, and we've got to get into all of that and how it affects next season coming up here. We're going to skip our intro that we normally do because we have had the longer than usual Would You Rather and the NBA draft coverage going on. But, fellas, the trades that happened, okay? CP3 is no longer a Wizard. Again, he got the Wizard jersey like Carmelo got the Hawks jersey. And with that being said, he is shipped off to Golden State to presumably be the backup point guard for Jordan Poole and a couple of firsts. What do y'all think about this?
I'm not mad at this trade if I'm Golden State for this reason. Jordan Poole had to go. After the season he had, especially after the playoffs, his value tanked tremendously. So you had to get him off the books. Was Chris Paul the best option for that? Possibly not. He's older. You already got one of the oldest teams in the league. He can't stay healthy in crucial moments. However, Golden State has said that they're going to keep Chris Paul around and they're going to find a way to make it work. And I think there's a universe in which this works. Get some mid-level exception players, draft well in this draft, get you some good role players because the Warriors severely lacked depth last season. So if you bring back, Moody, you bring back Kuminga, you bring back DiVincenzo and get a 3-and-D player to get you a big that can play some defense out of free agency or this draft. Limit Chris Paul to 20-24 minutes off the bench and have him be a facilitator off the bench. or stagger him with Steph at the end of that first and had, Chris Paul distributing to Klay Thompson, distributing to Andrew Wiggins. If you keep those minutes down, turn them into a 6-man, say, hey, we capping you at 24 to 30 minutes tops. I think there's a universe in which that works for Golden State.
Let's check and make sure. Once again,
I feel it. Chris, what you think about this trade, man?
Scoot Henderson went number 3. Just pointing that out since we doing the draft coverage real quick.
You think that's the help Dame needed?
Boy, Dame out of there. Dame gone. But anyway,
The Blazers just announced yesterday that they're shutting down all trade
I
talks.
disagree. I was just about to say they're not getting rid of Dame, and Dame don't care. He don't care. He's happy to be with the grind, and that's, brother. Oof, that man is he grinding like he just heard Pleasure P in 2006. I would let it go if I was him. Ain't that much grind that I want in the world, okay? At some point in time, enough is enough. I done had it, but I digress. Chris, how you feel about this trade?
I rock with it a little bit, but I mean, you fixed your chemistry issues, but you didn't fix your number one issue that the Golden State Warriors have. You lack the center position. You lack big man. If I was them, I would have been on the phone trying to get Porzingis, and I feel more even sorry for the Phoenix Suns, right? Because they don't have another pick until 2031. If you mean to tell me you could have got Jordan Poole to add some depth to your bench and some draft compensation to add to Brad Beal and KD and Booker for Chris Paul?
Yep.
I don't know.
When I look at this draft, I see one definitive loser. Washington Sports. My God, you're gonna have
I don't
to
understand.
Watch a team. You're gonna have to watch a team be built around a at best case scenario here, a wildly overpaid Kyle Kuzma and Poole.
He tested free agency though. Kyle Kuzma tested free agency.
Yeah, Kuzma declined his option.
Here's the thing. Kuzma ain't stupid. He declined that option because he knew that with them blowing it up, they're gonna have a lot of money to blow.
Right? Yeah.
A ton of money to blow, and they got to spend it somewhere. Like you can't, as an NBA,
And they can negotiate that. He averaged 21, 4, and 4 on 43% from deep.
as a NBA owner, you cannot sit there and let your team be bad without spending money. But they will find your fans and the players will find a way to get you out. Stares at Phoenix and Savar. They will find a way. Now, granted, all y'all ain't saying the same things he was saying, but that's neither here nor there. They'll find a way to get you up out the paint. That's just the reality. So, wow, what a time. But also, let me ask you this. Did we just see a trade that could have elevated Chris Paul into winning an award that we probably never thought he'd see in Sixth Man of the Year?
It's very much possible.
I think it's possible, but it's a game requirement now. And you think Chris Paul gonna pay the certain amount of game?
That's fair. That's fair. Also, speaking of six men, shout out to the greatest six man of all time in terms of scoring, Lou Will, on retiring.
Lou.
We wish you the best, Lou. We wish you the best. Especially some folks on this podcast for reasons we can't talk about on this podcast. But your motivation to many a young man who's been told. He's a young man who's been told that he's not tall enough, not big enough, not all the things enough, and to folks who've been told, hey, you'll never be a starter, doesn't matter, you can still have a great career and be labeled as the underground GOAT. Congratulations, Lou Will. And speaking of Scoot Henderson getting drafted, do you all believe that anybody besides Wemby has a serious shot at winning Rookie of the Year?
Yes.
Brandon Miller could.
Brandon Miller and Scoot could possibly win Rookie of the Year. Of course, the scales are going to be wildly, tipped against them because even in the case, like you could look at this like the year that Brian won Rookie of the Year over Melo.
Josh, please don't start this up again.
Melo was a Rookie of the Year.
Oh my God!
I'm saying though,
they should have did co Rookie of the Year. They should have did co like they did
the
that 1 year.
The awards are voted on by the media.
My brother in Christ. They were offensively very similar players.
Okay.
Carmelo's team had more success. So there was the argument there. However, LeBron was the better defender and asked to do more from day one. Like,
Okay.
Carmelo had like actual NBA play. That man had Darius Miles next to him.
If that's the case, then I need some consistency with the criteria for voting for these awards.
I agree. I'm 100%. And let me say this: I don't think that anybody else has a shot for the narrative purposes. I agree with you that.
But I do think there's a universe to which, Wemby may not be healthy, or we could see, or the amount of touches that the kind of system that Pop is going to run. Miller and Henderson are going to get incredible, way more touches than Vic, I believe.
Oh, stop! Who they gonna have taking the shots? Vassell? What?
I'm saying we gonna be running a system. Pop may say,
Johnson?
yes.
Stop it!
Pop is gonna teach that man how to play basketball the quote unquote right way.
Stop it!
As opposed to you got a team like Portland, you got a team like especially Charlotte, especially if LaMelo not healthy. Brandon Miller hit the ball, ISO, 50 plays.
Here's the reason why I know that Victor Wembanyama is gonna win it. They have never broadcast any French league games on any of the major networks. All of a sudden, the league that Vic was playing in got a deal with, what was it? Was it ESPN or was it TNT? Who was the deal with?
With who?
ESPN. It was ESPN 2. ESPN 2.
They had a deal all of a sudden that all of their games were broadcasted. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, Josh, you're right, and I don't agree with you about the Melo.
Rockets pick in.
I don't agree with you about who the. Listen, if the Pistons don't trade that number 5, I'm gonna be mad. Because you don't need Thompson. You don't need.
I promise you, if the Pistons take one of these twins,
with all due respect, you do not need that young man. I'm not the type.
We need one of the twins though.
I don't want to see any young man fail. You know what I mean?
Right.
Them Thompson twins. Them young boys about to be Dookie Water in the league. Do you hear me?
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's not even.
I think we need one of the twins though.
I believe that you're supposed to draft for best available player, unless that best available player is really like way against the fit. If you look at the Pistons as they're constructed right now, Jaden Ivey can get to the rim and will. Cade Cunningham can turn the corner more effectively than most people had originally anticipated he would be able to. You have guards who can get downhill at a high level. You need some floor space. You need some veterans. You do not need another young guard in that core right now.
At all.
It's just too much. If they don't trade that number 5, listen, get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Because have y'all completely given up on Killian Hayes yet? Like, has the Pistons completely given up on him yet?
I mean, they should.
They should.
They should, but have they though? So I mean, if you haven't given up on him, so you got 2 young guards that don't cost you a lot of money right now.
My man went first. I thought he was gonna be the second one drafted.
No, and then the point guard, he's the one that's the better of the 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we did. I like this pick actually for the Rockets because.
But I'll tell you, for the Rockets, that actually makes a lot of sense.
That's what I'm saying. For the Rockets, we needed it.
You need a guy who can finish at the rim, who has a good feel for the game, who can do the playmaking and all that. Because Lord knows Jalen Green, sorry, Self ain't gonna do it. But with that being said,
Come on, Jalen Green averaged 24 last year, bro.
Oh, good for him.
What
how much did Kyle Kuzma average? How much did Kyle Kuzma average?
21.4.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is putting up great numbers on a bad team ain't really that difficult, is it? If you the first option,
what K do last year?
He was hurt. When he was healthy, he was hurt. Oh my God! So now we milking the injury card. I
mean, why y'all gotta hate on Jalen? I know he did Detroit.
Because he hated on the city. He hated on the city. That what?
I mean, come on, bro. The boy can hoop.
I have said one thing consistently about people who hate on the city of Detroit for no reason, and I have yet to be proven wrong. Jalen Green is on the cusp of beating those allegations, but he's not quite there yet. And anybody who knows me well knows what those allegations are, but I can't say them on air because we'll probably get suspended by Twitch. Now, with that being said, fellas, in terms of the next biggest trade, the next trade that had everybody, this trade was more confusing than the first to some extent. Marcus Smart is going to the Grizzlies, and Tyus Jones is going to the Wizards, and we're seeing Kristaps Porzingis and 2 firsts headed to the Celtics. What do y'all think?
One, if you're a Wizards fan, what is going on here? How did you so you got rid of Chris Paul didn't play a game in a Wizards uniform. But if Chris Paul was on that team, you can make the argument that you got rid of your best 3 players or your 1, 2, and 4. In return, you only got 2 first-round draft picks. I don't know how you allowed that to happen.
And now he is with Harmonica McNutt.
Again,
However, I
it's gonna
think
be bad for
a while. I do think Boston fixed a lot of their issues, though, picking up Kristaps. If he's healthy, Kristaps is a good shot blocker. He averaged 21 on 42% shooting from deep, I believe. They fixed a lot of issues. They still need a distributor, and are losing out on a lot of perimeter defense by getting rid of Marcus Smart, which I think is a good fit in Memphis. I mean, Marcus Smart is what Dylan Brooks thought he was.
Yep.
So that's a really good.
100% agree.
That's a really good fit. The only team that this doesn't make sense for whatsoever is Washington, because you didn't even get enough stock from that trade to at least prepare for the future. You got 1 pick from that pick came from Boston.
You muted. Yeah, but
Your microphone is muted. Yeah, but that
I'm
pick.
sorry, I said the pick was from the Grizzlies, I believe. I believe it's
Oh,
from the
well,
Grizzlies.
you got a pick from a contender. So this pick is going to be in 20-something next year. So that trade made sense for all parties involved except for Washington.
That's fair. That's fair. That is, I mean, again, I'm looking at Washington like y'all looking funny in the light, man. I really hate this football.
I mean, but see, has Washington ever even recovered from that John Wall, Bradley Beal fiasco? John Wall got hurt, and they just never could figure out, like, what do we do from here? Like, they just never, they haven't been relevant since he got hurt, literally.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Here's the thing that I think people need to understand at a high level. Boston will embrace Kristaps Porzingis for reasons that are beyond me. They will love him as if he's one of their own. And with that being said, Boston fans will learn soon enough, because as much as they like certain players, they're also very passionate about wins and losses. They'll learn that there's a reason Kristaps has played on this many teams in this short amount of time. Like, I'm sorry to tell y'all, the idea of him is better than the reality. The idea of Kristaps is you have this unicorn who defends the paint at a high clip, who rebounds at a high clip, who can step out and hit threes, and he can finish a little bit at the rim. That's the idea of him. The reality is, I mean, he's streaky from 3 at times. He's a pretty good rim protector. I'll give him that. Rebounder,
I mean, he can play help side
You don't
and get
really
some
have
blocks.
to be, you don't have to be a
Did you-
good
you're not
rebounder
locking
on the
nobody down.
Celtics, though. You don't have to be a good rebounder on Celtics either.
But my point here is just that there are too many moving pieces. There are too many, or not too many moving pieces, I'm sorry. There are too many things that you have to speculate on. Will he do it? Will he be good at it? For him to be as deep in his career as he is. Again, this is a man who went from the Knicks, where everybody loved him, he was a superstar, got hurt, Mavericks. Went for the Mavericks, didn't work out there. Him and Luka didn't get along. He felt like Luka wasn't sharing the ball enough. Wizards. On the Wizards, didn't do jack diddly, didn't take him nowhere, didn't get him nowhere, didn't do nothing special. I understand that Bill had one of the worst years of his career, but still.
Did you see the pick, bro?
The Pistons took the top seed to the other one.
I'm nowhere near as good as I can be. I just have to not let a day go by where I don't get better.
I was starting to believe it, Weaver.
Brothers drafted in the same year.
I was starting to believe
The
it.
Morris twins in
I was.
2011.
You know what? It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to be all right, because football season starts first, and then Brad Holmes we trust. You know, and Brad Holmes we trust, man. Jesus Christ, why didn't they trade out of number 5?
They could have got a lot. People desperate this year. PTs is desperate this year.
Boy, I would have skedaddled up out that. If I wasn't in the top 3 of this draft, the way I would have skedaddled out the first round like nobody's business,
Man,
I mean, took off. But I digress. So, with that being said, which of these trades was more surprising to you? Which of these trades kind of made you, stand up at attention and say, wait, what happened here? A little bit more.
I just think the Bradley Beal trade stuck out to me the most because we had an idea that Bradley Beal was going to be moving. I had no idea he was going to be going to Phoenix. One, because it doesn't make sense. Phoenix's biggest problem is defense. Bradley Beal is not bringing that. And their other biggest problem is depth. He's not bringing that, and he's taking up the same amount of money Chris Paul was. So you didn't fix any of your issues. You're going to have 3 ball-dominant players out there shooting the ball with Ayton disengaged and literally no one else to touch the ball.
Can I say something? And I know this is going to sound horrible, but I'm big on being transparent with the Facts Over Acts listeners because I love it. That trade was so, nonsensical. I forgot about it. Like, I'm not even joking.
And on the other side, you must have said, yo, the Wizards must have got a haul for Beal, right? They didn't even get a first out of it.
And here's my problem. Here's my problem with this, right? If you're the Wizards, I'm going to tell Bradley Beal straight up and down, yeah, you got a no-trade clause, sure. But you got 2 options on this. You can, go to a team that's going to give us a good haul back for you, where, yeah, you might not be a contender, you might be a contender, who knows? Or you can stay. You can stay. Because I'm sorry, but I'm not giving you up for Tyus Jones and 2 firsts from the Grizzlies. That's
at all.
That's not on my bingo card, brother. So, and I'm sorry, Jordan Poole, Tyus Jones, and 2 first-round picks from the Grizzlies. My brother in Christ, you can stay. You know what I mean? I'm sure the Potomac has been great to you and your old lady, and it's going to keep being that because you ain't going nowhere. You the opposite of Magic Johnson. You going to be here. You going to be right here. But also, the other part of what made me forget about this trade, we've seen this exact same trade before. And I said the exact same thing about it when it happened, and y'all didn't believe me when it happened. Do y'all want to know what trade that is? Or I'm sure y'all know what trade it was. Talk to me. Which trade was it? Which trade was it that was the identical twin of this one? I'll give y'all a hint. One of the players that's involved on one of these teams was involved in the first one.
You're not talking about the KD trade, are we?
Yeah, it was when they got KD, Harden, and Kyrie to the Nets. And I said, what are y'all doing?
Oh,
you just told your old
you
lady
did,
who's beautiful, I need you to learn how to cook. And you gave her $5,000 to learn how to do it, and she went and got a BBL. The exact same thing just happened again. The exact same thing just happened again. We just saw a team. Hey, you have 2 guys that go off for 60 on any night. Great. We need some depth. We need a better big. We need some glue guys. Cool. I got y'all another score. What?
Yeah. Honestly, if you just got KD and Book and you put some good pieces around them, in the current NBA, you getting a ring. If they healthy, you got a ring.
So let me ask you this. Who's more likely to get a ring, do you think? Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, Marcus Smart. Who gets the ring out of the 3?
I don't even know why you do Marcus.
Or let's throw a 4th one in there. Kristaps Porzingis. Who gets the ring? Who gets the ring out of these? Out of the 4 marquee players who were traded, who gets the ring?
I think Kristaps got the best chance. I don't even know why you threw Marcus Smart in there. But I'll say this. Chris Paul set up for success, but he ain't going to be here in the words of Magic Johnson. He ain't going to be there. I'm sorry. Yeah, and is it sure Draymond signing back with them?
That's fair. That's fair. Because everybody's saying he's going to sign back on the team-friendly deal, and I'm like, I don't know if y'all
we don't know for sure.
Draymond from Saginaw. He ain't giving up no bread.
Right.
I
He's
tell you
from
something.
Sag Nasty, bro.
I tell you something now about them boys from Saginaw. They is not leaving not a crumb on that table. You understand me?
Out of those players, Kristaps probably got the highest. Kristaps probably got the highest odds just because Boston has been there. They sniffed it. They just need to make maybe one more piece and they're set up. But at the same time, we don't know if Boston got that championship DNA. Like I said, in a perfect world, Golden State is going to be fine next year.
So this is my thought. They starting lineup could be Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Porzingis. That's a pretty ain't too many starting lineups matching up with that defensively or offensively. That's a solid defensively and offensively team.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I think,
Very true.
And I think the biggest thing there is you have two guys who can get it done on both sides. Like, you can count on them to get it done on both sides in terms of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
And Derek White.
See, and I knew he was going to say Derek White. The only
When was this
problem-
young man projected to get drafted? The dude Orlando just took was sitting in the. He was sitting where Sting used to sit at in WCW. He was walking for a minute to get up to that stage.
I hate that. Hate that for him. Absolutely.
He averaged 13, 5, and 4 as a guard on 45% shooting. I don't know if that's a good pick.
Hey, we gonna see. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Beyond like the top 5, 6 this year in the NBA draft, I'm like, I really don't know much about him. Like, that's just I'd be surprised. I'm gonna be happy to be surprised if some of these guys turn out to be electrifying, showstoppers, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Not really too much to it. Honestly, I think Chris Paul got the best chance. I think Chris Paul got the best chance because that's a championship pedigree team. But even beyond that, we get to see off-ball Steph full time at this point. Well, not full time, but at least for a good chunk of the time. Imagine you down. Imagine you're struggling to get it going offensively, and then you could throw out a lineup that has CP3, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson.
That sounds like a cone drill.
Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I didn't say, like, imagine if you're having problems getting stops and you put that out. If you're struggling offensively, a lineup with those three in it, regardless of who your 4 and 5 are, you'll figure out ways to get baskets. Just
Right.
because they're on the court
Right.
in the same vicinity together. So, but with that being said, like you said, defensively, Klay has lost several steps. Steph Curry has literally, from the beginning of his career, been the guy that whenever he's on the court, the other team is like, run a pick and roll. Whoever he's checking, get that guy to set a pick. You want him in the switch. Chris Paul, you know, he's up there at age as well to where it's like, he'll get a steal or two here and there, but, you know, it's getting a little scary for him defensively. But offensively, I think that's a good look, and I think they could do something special there. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. But in trades that haven't happened yet, but everybody swore that this was going to happen, including some major outlets saying that this young man was no longer going to be a Pelican by Thursday, Zion Williams is a guy that his camp has reportedly asked out. The Pelicans are reportedly happy to ship him out. Do y'all think that Zion is a Pelican in opening night of the 2023 NBA season?
No. I'm going to say no because the Pelicans have proved to be, with this current, roster makeup they have, their front office has proven to be really smart about putting a roster together. It's just a matter of staying healthy. I think that they ship Zion out of there, and I think that's the biggest mistake Zion can make.
Again, I don't understand why Zion want to leave. They're committed to you. They got to be committed to you.
Yeah.
Be happy. Be happy.
And you got good pieces around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good young pieces. None of your pieces are at that point where they're like, oh no, everybody's going downhill.
Yeah.
Maybe CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram.
He only 32, I think.
But that's my point. He's above 30. Who else? Brandon Ingram ain't close to 30. He's not sniffing 30.
Valanciunas is 31, 32 probably.
Okay, Valanciunas. But other than that, so you talk about the starting five, right? And you got, who would that be? That would be
Val, Zion,
Val, Zion, Ingram.
CJ, and
Is Murphy?
Herb Jones.
Herb Jones. There you go. Herb Jones. So that's your five. And of those guys, who is over 26? CJ and Val?
Val, that's it.
Yep.
That's my point. You have multiple guys that are ascending towards their best ball. And you want to leave that for what? I promise, my brother in Christ, I've lived in Houston. It's not all that it's cracked up.
So they drafted the teammate with Victor Wembanyama for the Pacers from France. France getting off this draft. They got 2 lottery. When the last time we see 2 lottery picks from France?
Again,
Yeah, your starting
Tony
point guard
Parker.
average. I mean, your starting small forward average 5 and 3.
Tony Parker gonna pay for it.
Oh, they trade him to the Wizards. They trade him to the Wizards.
For what?
I don't. It don't say that yet.
The
They just
Wizards
traded
probably
him to the
gave their
Wizards.
whole arena for that young man. They giving up for that.
Wait, they just traded somebody for that's averages 5 points and 3.
He averaged 5 and 3 starting.
I'm trying to tell you, the Wizards they trying to tear everything. This is why I say I feel bad for Washington sports fans. You got the football team that just got sold and renamed and all that good stuff. You got the basketball team that's selling everything like it's a fire sale. Listen, to all of my friends who are Washington sports fans, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for y'all. You know, as the Detroit sports
I
fan,
don't
I've been
understand
tormented
that.
myself, but this is a depth that I ain't never
I
seen.
don't understand that. You traded away all your pieces and got scraps back, and then you just maybe this guy he sees something we don't know because averaging 5 and 3, and you just traded for him.
Maybe the owner having money problems. They got cash flow issues. And they just like, listen, we got to clear out some cap space immediately. You understand me? We got to, you know, we gonna. If I don't come up with 50 mil by tomorrow, they gonna put my wife and them in that sub and send them down to the Titanic. I can't play like that. We got to get rid of some bread because this is tough. This is tough to see. So let me ask you, Chris. Do you think Zion is a Pelican by this time next week?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Pelicans they got a gun to their head, man. They don't really have a choice. They have to make this work. After all the hype that went into this, trading Anthony Davis and he going to win a championship, you getting Brandon Ingram, you letting Julius Randle, all people that turn into all-stars other places, you have no choice. He's been 2-time all-star playing for you guys. When he's on the court, he's a fantastic player on the court. You got to make this work. You got to make this work. I don't even think they think he's a bust at this point yet. I don't think so.
And this is why I say that it's not fair the expectations that we put on Victor Wembanyama, because Zion got those same expectations coming out to some degree, and it wasn't as bad as it was for Victor, but people were still screaming at best prospect since LeBron nonsense. And so a guy who in his first 4 years is a 2-time All-Star, you looking at like, yo, this is a bust. This is a bust right here. And Victor, everybody's like, oh, you got to be better than that to live up to what you're supposed to be.
Right.
That's tough. That's tough. With that being said, I don't think that Zion gets traded because I think that there's an incongruence in what his price is. Like, I think that there's a deep incongruence in terms of what other teams value him at and what he thinks his value is and what the Pelicans are going to want for him back.
Right. Yeah.
I think that those things are not aligned in a way that's like, oh, this is going to work out just fine. Like, if I'm the Pelicans, I'm not trading this young man for anything less than 2 to 3 firsts. I saw what Rudy Gobert went for. And the Timberwolves think about blowing it up.
The Timberwood, man, that might be the worst trade ever.
Ever.
He went for a total of 8 picks, and 8 players, and 4 swaps.
The only thing that could ever be like even close is if Deshaun Watson continues to stink it up in Cleveland. But even then, it's not like
No,
close,
that's
but
too, that's not even close, kids. He
It
sat out
is. It is.
He sat out a year, and you know that in NFL when you sit out for quite some time, you rusty.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. And that's why I said if he continues to stink it up. It's not just the actual, like, to me, it's not just the player's performance that factors into a trade. It's what was your team before? What was your trajectory and how did this trade impact it? Let's be honest. What was the Timberwolves' trajectory before the trade?
Play-in team.
Play-in. They look like they plateaued at play-in. Where are they after the trade? Play-in. Plateau that play-in. That's what happened there. The Browns were on an upward trajectory. They were getting better. They had just won, 9 or 10 games, won a playoff game the year before the trade, and then all of a sudden, you trade for Deshaun, it's like, Yeah, we suck again.
all the time.
This
But
is
the
tough.
story that
This is
stands out
tough
to me
again.
the most, Jay,
Like,
with
that's a
Garrett
problem.
Walker is
That's a problem.
he
That's
started all
that's
but
not
one
something
game
that you
and
want to
had
see.
21 games
It's
to
not
start
just
his
that the
senior year,
your
and he
performance is
didn't
good or
start
bad.
this
It's when they traded for
wanted
you,
to
your
give that
entire team's progress got
opportunity
derailed.
to another
That's the only
teammate.
reason I say it's
He
worse.
decided
That's
to come
again
off of the bench
potentially,
to let his
because
teammate
you
have
know
his moment, and I
the
think
assets
that
that you
says
give up,
so
that's
much
important.
about who
But
this young man
your
is.
team trajectory to me is the North Star of whether or not we won the trade. So let me ask you this, and I want to go through each team that was heavily involved in each trade before we get on out of here, because we almost at time. But for the CP3 trade, what does winning the trade look like for the Warriors? What does winning the trade look like for the Wizards?
Winning the trade for the Warriors is a championship. That's still a roster that's championship or bust. Winning for the Wizards with the draft pick that you got in return for that draft pick panning out to be at least a decent role player for your team. And I only put the ceiling at decent role player because the Wizards have not proven to be good at drafting. However, they did just take Jarace Walker, who I think is going to be probably the biggest sleeper in this draft. I've been really high on Jarace Walker since he was in 10th grade.
He's the first
Yeah,
top
he's a great. I was just about to say that. For me, they ceiling is Jace Walker or somebody turning into like Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown, like you guys said, high level role player, somebody that you could put on the floor for a long period of time on a championship run, right?
Oh, the
They
big
just
top
said they
20
traded picks
protected.
with Indy. Oh, is it? Is it top 20?
Wait, did they trade Jarace to Indy?
Oh, I hope
They
not.
did. Oh my. Never mind.
Yeah,
bro.
them Washington
It's
boys
over,
cooked.
bro. It's
Never
over,
mind.
bro. Bro, never mind. They
They just traded arguably the best athlete in the draft for a dude that started and averaged 5 and 3.
Oh my God.
Hey, listen,
listen.
bro. Listen.
Call
They
your
ceiling
friends.
is
Call your
15
friends that
games.
watch the sports fans. Call them right now and tell them it's gonna be okay.
You know what? Y'all gonna call me crazy. Depending on what other moves they make this offseason, and if Jarace develops well, and if they are healthy, because they look like some dogs at points last season.
The Pacers? Yeah.
Pacers a top 5 seed in the East, if healthy, this upcoming season.
That's possible.
I might even put them. I might even put them at 4.
Halliburton to be an all-star this year. Dre shit, who? They got some pieces. If they keep Miles Turner, they keep saying they're gonna trade him though. I don't know.
I wouldn't trade Miles Turner, man.
And you know what? Miles Turner is a pro's pro because he keeps playing like you never hear about his effort level, even through all the trade talk.
Yep.
How many other players have we seen? As soon as their name get in trade talks, oh, they're done. They are. Oh,
He a
okay,
high
y'all-
motor guy. He can shoot the 3. He's a great defender. He's a great post defender and a great help defender. He got length. He's more athletic than most bigs you got in the league.
I agree. I agree. That's tough. That's tough, man. Oh my God. That's right when we thought the Wizards did something right, they screwed the pooch again. So, in terms of the Grizzlies, Wizards, and Celtics trade, we're gonna exclude the Wizards because we already know. Like, you're not expecting Tyus Jones to become a 20-10 guy. That's just not it. But in terms of the Grizzlies and the Wizards, what does winning that trade look like for them?
I would say Grizzlies when John Morant comes back, winning that trade. Them winning that trade is them winning 15 of the 25 games that John Morant did. Because with Marcus Smart, you have a playmaking defender that's a significant upgrade from Dylan Brooks. I think that gets you to at least 10 of the 25 games Ja is out to win. Puts you in a position to win. Now you lost Tyus Jones, but you gained Marcus Smart. I think that's a good pickup for them. So that's the winning of the trade for me. Because if they do that and Ja come back and ball like Ja does, they could be looking at the 1-2 seed in the West again. Now winning for the Warriors, that's still a championship team to me. I honestly think that.
You mean the Celtics, but we got you.
I mean, yeah, the Celtics. That's still a championship team to me, and I just don't understand what the point of going all in on Robert Williams though if you was gonna bring in Kristaps, right? So that means to me that another move is gonna be made, right?
Because it's
Right.
no reason why you just signed Al Horford for that big contract, and then you kept Robert Williams around, and then you went out and got Porzingis. So to me, another move is gonna be made for the Boston. So I think them is the ship the next 1 or 2 years. It has to be, because you got to pay Jaylen Brown all this money, so you got to make it worth it.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. I'll say this. To me, for the Grizzlies winning this trade, like you said, it looks like having the boat be headed in the right direction when Ja comes back. For the Celtics, if they don't win a chip out of this, honestly, y'all might hate me for saying this, but that's okay. If they don't win a chip out of this trade, that's okay.
For
Because
Boston?
if Boston don't win a chip, and let me tell you why. If one of those picks becomes something special, and I mean something fairly good here, if the Grizzlies find a way to struggle in either one of the years where those picks are up, Boston could be all right on this. They could be okay on this. I think that a championship is winning for them. I agree there.
Yeah, true.
But I think that they could be okay without winning a championship. But again, they should win a championship. That should be the goal here. And last but not least, I hate to have to talk about this team again. But let's go ahead and just put the dog down. The Wizards and Suns trade. What does winning look like for each team? I'm gonna start because I like to get long-winded. I'm gonna just start and make this thing real quick. The Suns have to win a championship this year.
Yep.
If they do not win a championship, this was an abject failure. You put together a big three that the new CBA is going to bust apart quickly. So you have to win a championship right away, and that's just what that is. The Wizards, no catastrophic failure happening to y'all organization worse than it already is, I guess, is a win. Josh, talk to us. What's a win for these for both of the teams here?
So a win for every team that, Washington made deals with is championship or bust. You're probably right about Boston, where you're in a position where with those picks, you still, if you decide to keep them under contract, you're still good with Tatum and Brown being your centerpieces for like the next 6 years. They're very young. But if you can get one of those picks to develop and be a good third option, within like 3 years of that process, your championship window is still wide open. But Phoenix has to win now. If they don't win right now, then Phoenix is absolutely useless. You got players that's getting older. You're going to have more dissension between those players. The chemistry is already very iffy in Phoenix. Like, Phoenix has to win now, which I can guarantee you now it's not going to happen. But they have to win a championship in order for this to not be a fail.
Imagine being over into the salary tax already with just the starting five. That's insane. And now you got to try to find something to get back for DeAndre Ayton when his value is at his absolute lowest, because everybody just saw him get Jacques Landale praised for his effort in the finals, and everybody in the NBA knows if you don't trade him, you're going to have to eat his salary. You're going to have to trade him to get him off your books, which what we saw out of the Suns and Wizards trade. Oh, if you trade to get somebody off your books, you're getting pennies on the dollar, baby. So, for DeAndre Ayton at this point, you might get, who knows, a second and a used Kit Kat bar or a half-eaten Kit Kat bar. That's about it at what you're looking at here. But Chris, what does a win look like for both of these teams?
Because of those picks, this is tough, right? Because there ain't no telling what that boy in Memphis gonna do again. Ain't no telling what that boy in Memphis gonna do again. So them picks might be golden. Because best believe he do that again. It's at least one season.
This is the
Wait.
Wizards and the Suns.
The Wizards not only traded Walker, they gave up 2 second-rounders to get that French dude.
I know 3 and D is a thing.
Hey, they fans need to start to sell the team checks. They need to start to sell the team checks. This is crazy. This is insane. Is Wes Unseld Jr. still their head coach?
I believe so.
Why they doing that legend kid like that, man?
I don't know, man. I got a
Why
soft
they
spot
doing
for him. Let's unsell the first jersey I ever bought.
Why they doing that man like that? What? They really
it's
wow.
ridiculous.
Wow. Chris, what's a win for the Wizards and the Suns here?
Yeah. I was just bringing up the pick. I was bringing up the picks because I just had to point out John Morant. Ain't no telling what he gonna do.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. And that's what I was saying in terms of the Celtics might be okay because Ja might do something else, and next thing you know, Pistol
He got
Pete
a whole
is out.
season.
Exactly. Pistol Pete got an 82 on him.
Okay, but anyway, the Suns, it's ugly, bro. It's ugly. I think you got to trade Ayton right now, and your best bet is to win a championship this year. I think you have to trade Ayton. You got to get at least 2-3 role players for Ayton, and just so you can let some of that cap breathe and get some depth. Because I mean, Devin Booker, this is what I hate about basketball fans right now. Devin Booker played one series where he had a stretch of great assist games. And now everybody's saying Devin Booker's a point guard. He could be point guard for that team. He could be point guard for the team. They had Chris Paul, and they didn't know how to run an offense.
Such a hard worker, you know, we've been doing this since
Lord
we
have
were
mercy.
little, so I'm just proud of him. He finally made it.
Anyway. And then lost my train of thought. Suns and
You don't believe in Frank Vogel? You don't think you gonna get them boys turned around? You don't think you gonna? That's an NBA champion coach right there. You know what I mean?
Frank Vogel is a defensive coach for one, and for two, what defender can you name on that team right now for the Gibbs?
You know they. Well, Devin Booker was a good defender last year. I'll tell you he was a good defender.
He was a good defender for 2 playoff series last year.
I don't think that they have any elite level. Well, KD, when he's healthy and rolling at his highest clip, when he's fresh, he's a good defender. You know.
He's about, if I had to put it in terms of 2K, he's about 82 defender.
Yeah, he's good. Not great, but he's good. You know. I mean, hey, and Frank the Tank we trust, man. Frank Vogel, you know what I mean? Valley Boys up 1,000. You know what I mean? That's what we got going on here. But anywho, I know y'all tired of us talking trade and talking draft, and we gonna go and we gotta go have a talk with Weaver real quick because you know Josh worked for the Pistons, so we gonna have a discussion at Little Caesars Arena coming up pretty soon here. But come on back next week and the week after that and the week after that if we ain't in jail for beating up Weaver. Peace and love, y'all.